So here's the thing. Harry didn't just hop on a last-minute flight to the UK for some royal garden party. Nope, according to people close to the chaos. He straight up bolted. Emergency return. No warning, no schedule, just gone. And the reason, Tyler Perry. Yeah, the same Tyler Perry who literally gave him and Meghan a roof over their heads when they fled the palace drama. Turns out that safe haven might have doubled as a recording studio, and not the kind they were expecting. Now, imagine being Meghan right now, sitting alone in that massive Montecito mansion, knowing your former ride, where Di has a vault full of private clips that could blow everything up. And we're not just talking a few awkward bloopers. We're talking about 17 hours of behind-scenes footage, private convos, unfiltered rants, and media game plans recorded while they stayed at Tyler's estate, the very place they once called a sanctuary. And get this isn't some random rumor pulled from a Reddit thread. The whispers started when Harry suddenly jetted off without a royal summons or a charity event to justify it. Insiders say he's in damage control mode. Pure panic. Trying to clean up a mess before it becomes a disaster. Because if even half of what's in those tapes makes it out, it won't just be embarrassing. It could crush the entire Sussex brand. See, this goes deeper than just a celebrity falling out. Tyler wasn't just their buddy. He was family, godfather to their daughter, the guy who stepped up when the palace turned their backs. He gave them a place to breathe, to regroup, to rebuild. Meghan even called him her guardian angel in public. But now, after what's being described as a cold, strategic snub, that same angel might be turning into their biggest threat. So what went wrong? Well, Perry's been going through his own legal nightmare, a lawsuit that slapped him with a jaw-dropping $260 million demand. And while that mess unfolded, Meghan's team allegedly began scrubbing him from her public image. Mentions gone, posts deleted, podcast references quietly edited out. And that didn't go unnoticed. To a lot of people in Tyler's circle, it looked like betrayal, straight-up abandonment, like he went from savior to liability overnight. And here's the wildest part. Sources claim Perry didn't just let them stay in his home. He documented everything. Why? No one knows for sure. Maybe it started as a personal archive. Or maybe it was insurance. Either way, the footage exists, and people who've seen snippets say it's enough to flip their polished public narrative on its head. It reportedly shows a couple plotting media moves, rehearsing talking points, even expressing views that totally contradict their public persona. This isn't just about some legal drama or celebrity spat. This is about control. Meghan and Harry have spent years building a brand based on authenticity, victimhood, and truth-telling. They walked away from the crown to tell their own story. But now that story is at risk of being told by someone else, and not in a flattering light. If Tyler releases even a fraction of what he's allegedly sitting on, it could paint them as cold, calculated, and manipulative. That's not just bad PR. That's career-ending stuff. And while Perry hasn't said a word publicly, the silence is loud. Media outlets are reportedly lining up with offers, and the Sussex team is in full lockdown. VNDAs are being tightened. Staff are being cut. It's not a brand pivot. It's survival mode. The very foundation of their empire is shaking, and the clock is ticking. What's on those tapes, and when will they drop? No one knows for sure. But one thing's clear. Harry and Meghan are no longer in control of the story. Back in California, the tension inside the Montecito mansion is reportedly so thick you could slice it with a butter knife. Meghan's inner circle, once buzzing with stylists, PR reps, and brand advisors, has grown eerily quiet. A few key staffers have already walked out. Others were let go. And the ones who stayed are on edge, either tightening their lips or signing fresh non-disclosure agreements that are stricter than ever. It's like a fortress now, not of peace, but of fear. What's really setting off alarms is that this isn't just a personal issue. It's a financial crisis, 2. Let's rewind for a second. Remember that $100 million Netflix deal that was supposed to be their golden ticket? Well, turns out it's not looking so golden anymore. Viewership for their projects didn't hit the numbers execs hoped for. A few planned series were canned before filming even started. And that giant figure, insiders say it's been slashed to just $20 million. That's still a lot, but nowhere near what they built their lifestyle around. That income drop is having real consequences. Meghan's once promising lifestyle brand is reportedly stalled. The cooking show, her clean slate project, got lukewarm feedback in early testing. Critics called it forced, awkward, even out of touch. Then there's a follow-up podcast, which was supposed to revive her momentum after Archetypes. Word is that's been quietly pushed back. No release date, no marketing, just silence. And silence doesn't pay the bills. The Montecito estate alone is a monster, valued at over $14 million. It brings in sky-high property taxes, a mountain of maintenance costs, and elite-level security needs. That stuff doesn't run cheap. Without consistent high-level income, even a place like that starts to feel like a ticking time bomb. Sources close to the couple whisper about foreclosure being on the table. Not today, but it's not out of the realm. Even their nonprofit, the Archwell Foundation, is reportedly feeling the squeeze. Donations are drying up. The big donors who once saw the Sussexes as the face of modern royalty are suddenly less enthusiastic. There's hesitation, questions, and no one wants to fund a brand in free fall. The people around Meghan know something's up. The energy has shifted. The confidence she once carried into meetings, interviews, and launches is said to be replaced by a quieter, more defensive version of herself. Less camera-ready, more cautious. There's paranoia now. Who's loyal? Who's leaking? Who might be talking to Tyler's team? And speaking of Perry, there's growing speculation that he's already been approached by media networks willing to pay millions for exclusive access to the alleged footage. If that happens, Meghan and Harry might not even get a heads up before it all goes. Live, the Sussex playbook, carefully curated vulnerability, selective storytelling, and well-timed public appearances won't work if the footage is raw and unfiltered. The worst part, this entire situation might have been preventable. Some insiders say if Meghan hadn't tried to distance herself so abruptly from Perry during his lawsuit mess, things might have stayed buried. But once she hit delete on those old shout-outs and public thank yous, it sent a message, one Perry didn't appreciate. And now he's got all the leverage. Their brand, once praised as bold and inspiring, is now being described as unstable. Behind the gates of their once idyllic mansion, the vibe isn't ambition or creativity. It's survival. They're not building anymore. They're trying not to lose what they already built. And the man who once protected them may now hold the key to their undoing. In the quiet hills of Montecito, the narrative Harry and Meghan spent years crafting is starting to fray. Not with a bang, but with the slow, creeping dread of something slipping out of their hands. Their once loyal team is shrinking, but the number of eyes watching them has never been higher. Industry insiders are circling, gossip is flowing, and everyone's waiting to see if Tyler Perry actually presses the button. People close to the situation say Meghan is operating like she's under siege. Meetings have gone underground, off the record, off the calendar, sometimes even off-site. Security has been ramped up after being rotated more frequently. And while some say it's all precaution, others believe it's panic in disguise. There's a growing sense that something big is about to drop. And Meghan's doing everything in her power to brace for impact. Her once trusted allies in Hollywood are reportedly pulling away, too. Not necessarily because they're against her, but because they don't want to be caught in the blast radius. Brand deals have slowed. Patience to events are being reconsidered. The aura that once surrounded her, The carefully managed mixture of royal mystique and Hollywood glam has dimmed, and in its place is uncertainty. Not exactly the vibe investors want to bet on. Tyler Perry, meanwhile, has stayed completely silent. No statements, no leaks from his side, nothing. And that's exactly what's making everyone nervous, because silence from someone with that much to say, that's never casual. It's calculated, strategic, and maybe vengeful. The legal side of all this is murky. If Perry did record everything, the question now is, does he legally own the footage? Some say yes, especially if Meghan and Harry were guests in his home and aware of his documentation practices. Others argue privacy laws might come into play. But even without a public release, just the threat of exposure is proving powerful enough to shake the Sussex empire. The Montecito dream, once sold to the world as a story of reinvention, is starting to look more like a mirage. That house, once filled with camera crews filming intimate documentary moments, is now reportedly weighed down by tension and mistrust. Every phone call is double-checked, every visitor vetted, and inside the conversations are said to be less about what's next and more about what if. What if Tyler leaks something? What if Netflix pulls back even more? What if the public finally turns? That last one might already be happening. Meghan's cooking show, once her potential comeback moment, is stuck in limbo. Feedback from early screenings painted it as stiff, disconnected, even performative. One source bluntly said it felt like someone trying to be Oprah without knowing why. Ouch! Meanwhile, Harry's solo projects haven't gained traction either. His speaking engagements, once steady stream of both cash and credibility, are thinning out. Quiet cancellations, postponed appearances, and scheduling conflicts are starting to pile up. The biggest casualty in all this might be trust, not just between the Sussexes and their public, but inside their own team. People who were once part of the inner circle are now reportedly being watched more closely, their roles redefined, their access limited. One staffer who recently exited put it plainly, it's not a team anymore, it's a bunker. And looming over all of it is Tyler Perry's silence. The man who once gave them shelter, now holding what could be the final card in this very public game of chess. Whether he plays it or not, the damage is already being done, not by what's been said, but by what hasn't. And for a couple who built their empire on storytelling, that silence might be the loudest message of all.